This is Movies on TV Podcast Industries with our spoiler-filled discussion of Guardians of the Galaxy, the holiday special.
Drax, do you love Peter and want to save Christmas? Or do you want a little funny man?
A little funny man.
No!
Welcome back, fellow Defenders. Happy holidays, I guess.
I guess.
It feels a little early for it, though.
A little tad early.
Especially because we don't have Thanksgiving over here. This came out one day after Thanksgiving. So it feels early, but this is the annual presentation from Marvel for Christmas and for the holidays, following 1 year on from the release of Hawkeye, right? The first episode of Hawkeye came out the day after Thanksgiving last year. So I guess they're going to be doing this every year from now on. But anyway, this is TV Podcast Industries. We are talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, and I'm one of your hosts, Derek.
Hello there, fellow Defenders. Welcome to the Defenders podcast on TV Podcast Industries.
All right.
I am one of your other hosts, John.
I didn't know where this sits,
Ho,
whether
ho,
whether
ho.
it's movies or Defenders and TV Podcast Industries, but it sits everywhere, really.
Ho, ho, ho.
And we are joined once again by our very special guest. Ah, no, he's our other co-host. Welcome back, Chris.
Oh, I've been relegated to special guest. There we go.
I was trying to find when was the last regular episode you were on, and I think it was toward the end of She-Hulk, which is almost 2 months ago. We did do one final episode wrap up of She-Hulk and a final episode which wrapped up Umbrella Academy, weirdly, and the last special presentation, which was Werewolf by Night. So we have had you on recently.
I just missed your season of Pennyworth. Like, that's it. Like,
And Rings of Power, Chris.
That's fair. But we don't count that because one is Tolkien and that goes on forever anyway.
Well, it hopefully will. 5 seasons. Just the first one. But we are here to talk about the holiday special. We are getting in holiday mood. Before we get into our thoughts about it and the details about it, I will say firstly, I mentioned this earlier on, it does feel very early. This feels like something you should be watching with your Christmas lights on.
Yes.
And I don't have them on before December.
No, there are a few houses around and about that have got lights up. So I guess for some it wouldn't be too early, but it felt a little early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is still November. It is
Exactly.
It is Thanksgiving. We have not even done Black Friday, and so it was Black Friday. We haven't even done Cyber Monday.
Yeah,
it's just that is. We will get into it later, but like that was my biggest. I was like, watching this last night, I was like, I'm not in the holiday mood.
I
still
know,
in work mode.
exactly.
If this was the Christmas Eve drop, then I think this is, oh my god, this is the most Christmases of all Christmassy type events. I think it's just, maybe if we rewatch it closer to December or when we do an annual watch next year, along with the secondary.
Exactly. It does seem a bit like someone in Marvel isn't entirely sure when the holidays take place, whether it's Halloween or, dare I say it, Christmas. I know it says holiday special. I know there's Thanksgiving, but it was all about Christmas.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, it should have been a little closer to Christmas.
I guess they need Craglin's Universal Calendar. Maybe they've just got it set wrong. That's probably what it is. Although, in fairness, last night in Ireland was the Late Toy Show, which is the traditional start of the Christmas season for lots of parents. We're not parents,
that's true.
So that's part of it. I know HBO Max have released their Christmas Story Christmas, which is their Christmas movie. And there's another, I think iTunes or Apple TV has released their Christmas movie with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds. So I guess it's just getting earlier every year, and they start the season with these Christmas movies,
brutal.
so people will watch them over the whole season. But anyway, let's get into our discussion about the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. If you're not subscribed to the podcast, we do cover loads and loads of movies and TV shows. You can check it out on TV Podcast Industries. Pop over to the website at tvpodcastindustries.com, or just search for TV Podcast Industries on any festive or humbug supporting podcast player.
I guess so.
You can also email us to feedback@tvpodcastindustries.com, or pop on over to our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/TV Podcast Industries. And you can join us over there and follow along with everything that we're covering on TV Podcast Industries.
Grand. So, Derek, what are some of the holiday special episode details?
Well, once again, with the Guardians of the Galaxy, it's very easy. This was written and directed by James Gunn, writer and director of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and 2, and of course Slither, which we talked about extensively on our coverage of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. He directed The Suicide Squad, the excellent sequel to the other Suicide Squad movie, and he directed the spin-off of the Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, which was great fun as well. Much more adult than anything he's done in the Marvel realm for both of those movies, actually.
And now he is co-CEO of DC.
That is true.
DC animated extended all aspects of their entertainment universe. So translating the comic books into movies, games, animated films, short films, TV shows. He's co-creative CEO, or is it just co-CEO? I can't remember the title.
Yeah, I'd have to check it up. He's basically going to be half a Kevin Feige for DC.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the plan.
Which will lead me to a bigger question later on about, will we see a James Gunn Marvel property in the future? Because I'm not sure how that contract works. But we'll see.
Well, we will definitely see one more, because Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is coming out on May 5th, 2023.
True.
So there you go. So there is one more in the bag. And Kevin Feige has given huge congratulations to him on getting this role in DC, kind of being the guiding hand for DC in the future.
And of course, that's probably why he's a co-creative director or director, I guess.
Yeah, it could be.
He's 50-50. It's half rice, half chips.
Yeah. Oh.
Isn't that? Well, that's the thing over here.
It is.
Yeah.
But you need
I don't normally get it.
You need
now.
the curry sauce to make it good.
Yes.
You need a 3-in-1. A 2-in-1 is just carbs.
That's the job of the other co-chair of DC, then, I guess. Anyway, one final thing to call out, just weirdly because we didn't mention it last time. I always like to remind people that James Gunn was the writer of the excellent Dawn of the Dead remake, directed by Zack Snyder. So, really good to call that out, because it is one of his first big jobs and was absolutely brilliant. Really took an iconic movie and made it live again for a new generation of fans. So what James Gunn's very good at doing.
Yes, definitely.
But John, do you want to tell us what they gave us with your synopsis for the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special?
Sure. On Nowhere, Kraglin tells Mantis, Nebula and Drax about how Yondu ruined Christmas for Peter Quill. As Peter is still upset about the loss of Gamora, Mantis and Drax form a plan to make this the best Christmas ever. They travel to Earth to get the best present ever, Kevin Bacon. But after kidnapping him, they realise he's just an actor, and Mantis controls his mind to make him better. Peter Quill is overjoyed by the Christmas decorations the Guardians have set up for him, but when his big present is revealed, he angrily tells Mantis to free Kevin Bacon and bring him back home. The terrified actor is about to return to Earth on the Bowie, but when Kraglin reveals how important Christmas is to Peter, Bacon decides to save it for him and join the party. Mantis explains that she wanted to do something nice for Star-Lord because he's her brother. This is all Peter really needed, and he reveals that Yondu at heart was a softie who loved Christmas, even gifting him with his signature guns. The Guardians of the Galaxy join together to celebrate the festival and exchange gifts before returning Kevin Bacon back home to his family.
Very straightforward story.
Yep.
Yeah, it is. It's a simple enough story. Yeah. Kidnapping at Christmas.
Absolutely.
The present not as expected by both kidnappers or the recipient of the gift. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, I guess the big thing for me was, kind of actually the penny dropping that Mantis is Quill's brother, actually.
Yes, and did you hear the little controversy about this?
No.
This week.
Oh, God, because it's the controversy on everything. I heard this. This is brilliant, but this controversy on anything.
Absolutely. And on the legends, which usually come out before any of these shows and movies are released, the Legends version of Guardians of the Galaxy dropped 3 days before this was released, sharing that big spoiler that Mantis is the sister of Peter Quill in just a line of dialogue, and all the people that watched these little 5-minute quick shorts were like, wait a second, did we know that? And when did we hear that before? And then they've taken them off air on Disney Plus. So, oops. Sorry, editing guy who clearly didn't realise that he shouldn't have been sharing that with other people. Do want to call out the cast for this. This was made around the same time as Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Obviously, a much bigger production on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Lots of work to do to get that out into cinemas. But the whole cast returns here. We've got Dave Bautista starring as Drax the Destroyer. Pom Klementieff, of course, starring as Mantis. Sean Gunn as Kraglin. Kevin Bacon, of course, starring as himself.
Bacon.
Chris Pratt as Peter Quill. Cosmo is played by Maria Bakalova. Bradley Cooper returning as Rocket Raccoon. Vin Diesel as Groot. I don't know whether he just recorded all this stuff 20 years ago and they're just, or 10 years ago and they're just turning it up and down or not. But once again, Karen Gillan returning as Nebula as well in a great role, which I'm sure we'll talk about. And Michael Rooker finding space for him once again as Yondu. It wasn't the last time we saw him shouting that he was Mary Poppins in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
That's true.
And of course he was in What If, playing the role as well. But back again, they found a way to squeeze him into the Christmas special.
Yeah, and
Good
no
job,
Gamora.
No Gamora, of course, but at least mentioned in the story. Let's get into our top points about the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special. Let's start off with a little flashback to Yondu at the beginning of the episode. I thought this worked really well for me. A nice nod to the Star Wars holiday special from the 70s. The animation seemed quite similar to that. We've seen great Disney animation for the Marvel shows with What If and with all the other animated shows they do, but this seemed really like a nod to the 70s animation.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I will call out, did you see the cameo in the non-animated section of a certain Life or a Life Day Star Wars special cast member?
No, Chris, I didn't.
So we have Mark Hamill does a prosthetic-driven cameo as a nod back as well. He's not named, but he has confirmed, it has been confirmed on social media that he was there. That shot of a guy just looking like homeless and drinking.
Okay.
Was Mark Hamill, and essentially it was like, hey, do you want to be in a Christmas thing? And he was like, oh, I've done those before. They do not work out well for me. And then it was just like, no, come on, we'll put you in. No one will ever know it's you. Come and have fun at Christmas. So he did. He literally, again, they were trying to bring in all these nods to the Star Wars holiday special.
Yeah, they knew where they were aiming, and they were really hoping they wouldn't be as bad as the awful holiday special for Star Wars. Yeah. So a nice way to start it off. I must admit though, the minute it opened on the slightly badly drawn ship, I was going, oh no, actually maybe they've really pulled the wool over everybody's eyes and there's going to be 5 minutes of live action and the whole episode is going to be this animated element of the story. So glad they didn't do that. Glad it was just a little nod, little short, a bit at the start and a bit at the end. So it was fun, but at least it didn't outstay its welcome.
I did worry that someone uploaded the wrong one. I literally was like, oh my god, did they upload like a previs, and it just, everyone's just accepted it thinking that's the thing. Again, for a couple of seconds until it kicks in, you're just like, oh, I see what you're doing. Okay, now I get it. Ha ha ha.
This is the Ravager ship on a budget, basically.
Yes, exactly.
But what we get in the story is effectively that Peter was a big fan of Christmas, obviously taken from his home as a young kid, realizes this is around Christmas and tells Kraglin all about it. They make a Christmas tree. He puts together some gifts, and Yondu's really annoyed at the idea of it. I love Yondu's reasoning, which is that Ravagers work for everything they get, so they don't accept any kind of gifts. That's not the easy way to get through life, basically. So, and kicks over the Christmas tree, thus propelling our story from here on, as Kraglin tells this to the rest of our Guardians, that this is the reason why Peter has never had a good Christmas since he was taken from Earth.
Yes, exactly. And as you say, I guess moving on to our next point, it propels Mantis and Drax to formulate this plan to try and just reignite the Christmas spirit for Peter this Christmas. Because we see Peter sort of being very busy on nowhere, sort of being forced to listen to a Christmas tune. The guys are using primitive human instruments but seem to be masterful with them. But Mantis and Drax ultimately take off to Earth in order to find, of course, Kevin Bacon, who saved an entire town through dancing.
Absolutely, like Peter saved a universe, the galaxy, of course.
Through dancing.
Through dancing. We should really quickly talk about the music. What did you think of this opening Christmas tune from the old 97s?
I loved them. I loved the old 97s since Slither.
Right.
They were one of the main songs. I think they were the main one of the main songs at the credits anyway.
Right.
For James Gunn's Slither, and I think he always slips something that they do into one of his films.
They're like his house band.
Yeah.
I did think for a second it took me a second to figure out who it was. I'm not gonna lie, I did look it up.
Oh yeah.
Because I was like, oh, do you imagine they've done this and it's like Weezer or like they've done it like it was like Fall Out Boy and everyone's just under heavy prosthetic makeup and it was gonna be a nod at the end. But no, it's the 97s. And,
well, yeah. I must say, I'm glad they didn't have the Smashing Pumpkins on for their Christmas tune as well. Although I did enjoy the Smashing Pumpkins Christmas tune.
It's in the soundtrack, and you can hear it in the background. But it's just those strains of Billy Corgan singing "Christmas Time," "Toys for All the Children" that has always made me laugh, and it's such a weird song to have at a pivotal point in this movie.
Exactly.
As well, but,
dare I say it? So much snow at Christmas.
Can you be depressed while listening to Christmas stuff? Yes, you can. Because it's Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah, lots of obscure indie and alternative music, alternative bands singing in there. We had, obviously, as you mentioned, Smashing Pumpkins, but we also had Fountains and Wayne in there as well, doing another one of their Christmas tunes.
And of course, it opened up with Fairy Tale of New York.
Absolutely, Irish connection right from the beginning.
Oh, God. I think most people enjoy that, but when you're Irish, you hear that every night, starting around now up until end of Christmas, until like January, everyone goes back. It is played in every nightclub, every bar plays it, every radio plays it at least like 100 times that day.
Yeah,
it just goes on and on and on and on and on.
Well, it's just because it's that alternative tune. That's why people gravitate toward it. It's not about how beautiful it is outside with snow. It isn't about how wonderful it is that Santa's coming. It's about a couple fighting and a guy ending off in the drunk tank on Christmas Eve. Like that's why people seem to associate with it quite a lot more. And I can see why it fits the theme of what James Gunn is doing in the music. He's obviously very well known for his musical styling throughout all these movies. So picking out all these alternative tunes, there's a couple of great songs in there for Christmas. Though probably the ones that I would generally choose as opposed to the old standards. So I
You're
must
not
say,
a Cliff Richard fan then?
I am 100% not a Cliff Richard fan. Apparently he's releasing another one.
Oh my God, quick, head to the panic room.
I know, it's
panic room.
It's like he wants a Christmas single for every decade of his life. I think he's on his fifth or sixth. Happily for a lot of Americans, they don't remember Cliff Richard. He was.
You lucky thing.
He was a knockoff of Elvis in the 60s, and that's all they remember him for.
Well, he's known for Christmas singles at this stage and attending Wimbledon.
Yeah.
And I guess never aging. I mean, I don't know how long he's been around for at this stage, but he must be at least 293.
Yeah. And he has that summer holiday. We're all going on a summer holiday. And it's like him on a double-decker bus going down to like some like beach in Brighton in like that looks like it was like it's in a kind of post-communist world in Russia, and you're like looking at it going, oh, the grey, it's so beautiful, it's summer holidays.
Chris, that wasn't even the video for a song, that was an actual entire film.
Oh God, yeah.
So,
if you're being affected by any of the issues that we've talked about on the podcast, please know that there is help. Lots of help for Cliff Richard.
So maybe judging on those standards, the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special is the best holiday relations movie ever made. If it was just up against the summer holiday of Cliff Richard. Yeah. But back on topic, back on point number 2, the mission to Earth to collect Kevin Bacon, of course, coming from The Misunderstanding. We mentioned in our Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 review that these two characters themselves, Mantis and Drax, were real standouts. There were lots of very serious stories going along with all the rest of the characters in that movie, and we were talking about it only because I listened to it this week that I remember this. It's 5 years ago, amazingly.
Wow.
But we talked about the fact that these two characters merged together work really well because you've got the real innocence of Mantis, who's very friendly with it, and you've got the real innocence of Drax, who's very violent with it. And merging the two of them together and allowing them to kind of explore unknown situations works really well. So who better to have together to travel to Earth on their own? They've been there before for Infinity War. I think they left quite quickly afterwards. But this is the two of them on their own in Hollywood, not understanding what's going on. And the first section of them kind of being fish out of water that we have here, where they're walking down the boulevard and seeing people dressed up as the Avengers, like we have in our regular world, I thought was great fun. So we have Mantis and Drax seeing Ant-Man. We have Mantis thinking that Steve Rogers is right there because someone's dressed as Captain America, and she jumps on him until he screams and runs away. And then we have a very odd cameo in here from a GoBot called Cycle. Do you guys remember the GoBots?
I do.
Yeah. So weirdly, what makes it even weirder is Marvel owned the rights to Transformers comics, and that was one of the reasons why Transformers were so popular back in the 80s and 90s, because Marvel were publishing comics of Transformers, and the GoBots comics were on a completely different publishing platform. They're on IDW, and their rights are not within Disney or not within Marvel at all, yet they've effectively incorporated them in the universe. We hear Mantis calling out that a GoBot killed Drax's cousin. So what a weird little cameo in there.
Is it because they don't own the rights to Transformers anymore? The film rights. They own the comic book rights. They don't own the film rights to the Transformers.
Maybe, but why do they mention GoBots when they have even less rights to them?
Well, who knows? There must be rights somewhere.
They're over in Bandai. Nothing to do with Marvel
Bandai, Well, to be fair, it was a good joke.
What?
Because
it was.
So I was like, you what now?
It's like, I recognize him.
So,
That's Cycle.
More than that, GoBots are now an alien species that can turn up in, like, basically Secret War, which is coming in 3 years.
Yeah, maybe.
4 years. They can end up, we could have literally a GoBot animated in the background. It's going to be amazing.
Well,
but also...
you say amazing, Chris. It'll be weird. You like weird.
I like weird. It's fair, but I think that's the fun part of it. Like they're slow with all of these little things. Like you're getting a larger picture of the overall MCU, and it's kind of weirdness, which is fun. I think that's the fun part of it.
Maybe there's GoBots then in Volume 3, and
Maybe.
that's why the GoBot was there. But certainly, I loved how then. Just they were getting snapped. I love the one where effectively Drax is down beating the GoBot, and they're getting all this money as well. Yeah. And I love, I can't deny it. I love the fact that with all this money, with great amounts of money and responsibility came great irresponsibility by going straight to a bar to drink it all. And I loved that it was a gay bar. I loved that Beefcake Drax effectively getting hit upon by another beefcake.
Come dance with us.
So it was absolutely really good. Love this little sequence.
Absolutely. And I have to say, there's a moment with Pom Klementieff where she gets her first shot and licks it like a kitten. Yeah. And then likes the taste, throws it back, and then you see her breathing steam out of her mouth. And then realizes how much she likes it and gets herself some more. But yes, they waste every single penny that they got from cosplaying on a lot of alcohol.
Yes, and then Mantis has to use her powers so that they can get the map to the stars for free off the woman. $40 though for a map.
Well,
oh my God.
But it's a real map.
It's expensive.
Yeah,
but it doesn't actually show where the stars' houses are.
Well, in this case, it does. It shows.
Could you
shows
imagine
where his is.
that?
Yeah. Because we get the traditional Raiders of the Lost Ark or Indiana Jones type traveling on this map of the stars as they're searching for the house of Kevin Bacon. But we also see a few other stars' houses on there. We see John Cena, of course, star of Peacemaker. We see Margot Robbie, star of Suicide Squad, on there. We see Queen Latifah. Interestingly, we also see Arnold Schwarzenegger's house.
I'll be back.
Yes, and finally, weirdly, Mark Paul Gosselaar from Saved by the Bell.
Yeah,
his home was on there as well.
Although that took a long time to recognise. My goodness, he hasn't aged well.
That was a photograph of him from the 90s, John.
Well, it didn't look like it. It certainly seemed as though he had aged dreadfully.
Right.
Compared to when I remember looking at him on Saved by the Bell.
Right. Well, maybe we've got it wrong then. Maybe we should go back and check and see if it is Mark Paul Gosselaar, because the only reason I can think that he's on there is maybe he has an appearance in an upcoming James Gunn project.
Possibly.
Because it is a weird person to have on there. But it does lead them to the home of Kevin Bacon for a lot of fun with Mantis and Drax, not really understanding that someone wouldn't want to be kidnapped from their home on Christmas
or
Eve.
Pestered,
Or Christmas,
guess. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The one part with this, I'm now kind of happy and upset about the fact that they find some of these actors and they've had their image of some sort on this. Is say with Kevin Bacon, it kind of stops Kevin Bacon doing a role in the future, in my view, because it's kind of like he's now shared his face, unless he's gonna lend his voice or kind of go under prosthetics of some kind of makeup. He's like, that's the only way they can get back in. So you're not gonna get like Kevin Bacon as like Nova or an older Nova. You're not gonna get that or anything. It's just, I was like, oh, okay. But cool.
But he's had his time in Marvel. He's already been in X-Men, so he was the villain in one of the X-Men movies, wasn't he?
He was. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess they can still have Kevin Bacon.
I think they're probably getting less restrictive on that at Marvel, because they've gone and done so many movies with so many massive casts that it's likely that you might see someone back that has had an appearance before if a role suits them. I also remember we're getting Mahershala Ali back, who did one of the greatest roles in Luke Cage, back in the role of Blade in the future. So,
true.
So
are we? Because that film's
still on the schedule.
That's true. But the thing I noticed, there was also, again, quite a lot of reference to Batman. There was that's not a lot, but there were a few references to Batman as well. I wonder if they're trying to sort of undermine him in the MCU because it's the best DC property.
Well, that basically comes from the big joke after they have kidnapped Kevin Bacon, and they realize he's an actor, and Mantis tries to make him into a real hero, and he firstly tries being a real war hero with his British accent, and then puts on his Batman accent and says, "I'm Batman," and with the reaction from Drax going, "Who?" Like, I'm Bruce Wayne. Yes, they call it the full Batman and Bruce Wayne, so that's quite interesting. But I guess, a person who works across both of the houses, they can have a bit of fun with that stuff.
And of course, they're absolutely repulsed to learn that he is an actor.
They are.
Which I liked. I like that gag.
Yeah. I gotta admit, I did like the kidnapping.
I did.
Scenes. This was some of the best for me, which was like going up to the kind of screen, him going no, and then them just like the very much what we talked about, the chemistry between Drax and Mantis, which is like, I wonder if you could throw me over, and she literally gets to top.
Exactly.
I'm like, just fun. Like, she could have jumped herself, but it was just because you see them jump the height of a hedge later on during the chase, the two of them. I'm like, this stuff is fun. It was, then you get to see them with their the candy cane and the toy elf ornament. Yeah. Kind of all this, it's just all fun. Like, and then
it was
just the whole lot of this.
And I loved Kevin Bacon's reaction. It just felt really spot on. Like, as you say, just running down the road, trying to get away from his house and from them. And you just have Mantis sort of like popping up over the hedge. And then you have that kind of police sort of battle, I guess, where Kevin has called the police, but just Mantis putting them all to sleep, and unfortunately Drax may be taking it a little too far.
Yes, but laughing his whole way through being shot at by the police.
It tickles.
And then throwing over the car. I love his reaction to Mantis telling him he can't come out and kill people, and he going, well, how am I supposed to know unless you tell me the rules before you come out? So, really good. Yes, this is one of the first times we've seen Mantis properly fight, outside of Infinity War. Of course, we saw her included in that. What do you think of her fighting scene in this, Chris?
I loved it. Yeah. Like, I don't know how I had this kind of in the back of my head that this might have been just a bit of a too much like the Star Wars Holiday Special, which is everything's fun in game and super lovey, and it was not going to lean any way into any action or anything. Like, Guardians of the Galaxy still had some quite good choreography. Yeah. and I was like, no, this is it. Like, this is what, like, there's the fun part.
Yeah. I love her incorporating her powers in her fighting style as well, as she puts everybody to sleep after she knocks them out. So it still feels reasonably friendly, even though they'll probably wake up with bruises the following day.
We don't kill, and he's just like, and then Drax flips the last car.
Yes.
And you're like, I'm sorry.
But at least they were okay and got a candy cane from Mantis as well. So as a reward, even though they have no idea what she's doing.
Is this a human?
Does this look like a human to you?
Yeah.
Yes, really good. But yes, they do get Kevin. Mantis again uses her powers to make him want to go with them on their kidnapping trail back to nowhere. And on the way, they pick up every single Christmas ornament they could possibly fit into their ship to bring them back. And as you mentioned, John, realize that Kevin Bacon is not the savior of a town from dancing, and is not the person that killed Jason Voorhees.
He is not a hero.
He's not a hero. He's just an actor.
All actors are heroes.
And then again, they have to try and get him through the power of Mantis's ability to a space where he is like that. And I loved how then, once he's brought to nowhere, that Peter Quill, at that moment where the huge coffin-like present is wheeled out, and you have Kevin going, "Hey guys, there's not much oxygen left," and Peter is like absolutely, his mood changes from one of like real like happiness with all the decorations and the Christmassy feel to one of like shock as Kevin Bacon's wheeled out, but he knows immediately, have you effectively hypnotized him? Undo it now, and you get then the panic of Kevin Bacon coming back. So really, it was really, I just like that change. I have to say, I thought Kevin Bacon was really good in this, and for me, along with Mantis and Drax, it's just really, really. Those three actually were excellent.
Yeah, they're great fun. Great fun together. I love his reactions to things. How that at that moment when Mantis is telling him, "You need to be a better Kevin Bacon without the crap," and he goes, "I think this would annoy me normally, but I'm okay with it now." That was really good, and it does lead to one of my favorite moments in the movie. Lots of great background moments with Nebula, Karen Gillan's character, and of course Rocket and Groot in the background throughout the episode. They don't get much time. This is really the Mantis and Drax story, but I love when Kevin Bacon runs off and you hear and Peter goes, "Just can you somebody get Bacon?" And you hear Nebula going, "You cannot escape me, Bacon." So, as if she's out on the hunt. But also a great moment when they're trying to calm Kevin Bacon down, and Rocket goes, "Don't worry, nobody's going to hurt you." And he goes, "Oh my God, it's a talking raccoon!" and Rocket jumps straight for his neck, going, "I'll kill you! Don't ever call me a raccoon." That was great fun. Really good. Really enjoyed that.
For me, it was Groot. It was I am Groot, and he goes, "Well, no, you were in on this up until you wheeled out the box." Just revisionist teenager. It's great.
Absolutely. Should we talk quickly about Groot here? This is a new version of Groot. So the first time we saw Groot, obviously grown adult. We've seen Baby Groot in at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 1, and we've seen him grow throughout each time we've seen his appearance. Now we see Thick Groot, I think we'd probably call him. Now.
Chunky.
Chunky.
Like, is it kind of like teenage years here? Is this like puppy fat bark or something like that? Because like his face is really wide.
Yes, and I don't know whether it works for me. He's still a full CGI character, right? But because of how they've designed him for this movie, it feels more like they've designed a costume and they have somebody inside the costume for the first time since we've seen Groot right the way back as a CGI character. This one is the one that seems like they've just got somebody in a mask.
Because I think they may have. I think they may have put someone in a suit and then just animated the like overall face. Yeah. And just a couple because it feels weird because the last time we saw him as a teenager, he was a tall, lanky teenager in Endgame and all that. Yeah. This is post Endgame. Yeah. Like so and then excuse me. The last time we saw him was Thor Love and Thunder.
Yes. Yeah.
And he was still that lanky kind of teenage boy. So this is now either pre or post that, so either he's got a bit shorter and chunkier, or he went chunky, and then this is just before Love and Thunder. It's just, I'm trying to figure out where this is, but I'm assuming, I probably shouldn't think too much about it, but I was just like, I think they wanted to make him look a bit more like Baby Groot.
Okay.
And probably that's potentially where this is. It was like, hey, we want to make him a bit more like cute when he dances and wheels stuff out and stuff. He has that baby face.
Yeah, there'll be thousands of babies howling and crying when this version of Groot is given to them.
Yeah, like, I don't want that.
What is this monstrosity?
Oh, that's really harsh, John.
I know.
Really harsh. I just think it was a weird choice because
It was.
I do still think it's a CGI character. I don't think they are using a person in a suit in a set, but it does look like that, and that makes it look a bit cheap. I've never thought of Groot as looking cheap. I think they've always done a really good job with the CGI and with Rocket CGI. And in here, we're introduced to another Guardian properly. This time we see the return of Cosmo, the dog, another CGI character, who I think looks fantastic. I've not seen a proper CGI dog before.
That looked really, really good. If not, I was slightly perturbed. And I guess this is probably on par for the character, that the dog reacted so well to everything going on around, to the point it was eerie. But that is a sentient, sort of, intelligent dog.
Yeah.
So I guess, okay, that's how I would react when the dogs take over the earth, and our overlords. That would be the craziness of it, is that they would be absolutely fully on human level, if not beyond conscious. So
I like it.
Yes, I was slightly taken out by it, because initially I didn't even think it was CGI. That's how good it was.
Yeah.
And then there were just a few moments where I was like, oh yeah, that is.
Yeah.
But it really good rendering.
Yeah, like Cosmo.
They've put that She-Hulk work on her to good use, I think,
Yes,
with
they
old
have.
Cosmo.
Yes, they have.
So, while John was talking, I just quickly checked into it. So James Gunn, yesterday, on the day of release, did actually tweet about this. The nickname is Swall Groot.
There you go.
It is Swall Groot. And Swall Groot is 100% computer generated, thanks to the fine folks at Frame Store and Weta Digital.
There you go.
Oh my god.
And
Swall Groot.
Swall Groot, and he is post the young adolescent Groot, i.e. the teenager that we've seen previously, and he's getting bigger outward as well as upward.
Yeah, it's the puppy fat. It's that moment where all of a sudden, okay, grand. Swall Groot.
So there we are, Swall Groot.
Yes, Derek. Okay, laugh it up, fuzzball, etc., etc. That happened to me as well, for sure.
does.
And there is picture evidence of it, which I am destroying one photograph at a time.
If you get their hands on them, I've got loads of photographs of you like that, John.
I know. Yeah. I was Swall John.
Let's get back to the ending of the movie, because we do need to talk quickly about how it all finishes up. Kevin Bacon is allowed to go home. Peter is sending him home with Kraglin on the Bowie,
but he does decide to stay after Kraglin kind of explains why he was kidnapped, taken thousands of light years away from his family, effectively mind controlled. We're playing this off as laughs, but he'd probably have PTSD if it wasn't for Kraglin's sort of soothing words, giving the rationale of his abduction and kidnapping to effectively a skull-shaped sort of planet with talking raccoons, talking trees, talking dogs, you name it. So, yes, I think Kevin Bacon took this on the chin quite well.
Absolutely.
And I thought his, to pull himself together so well after that ordeal, to sing the song along with the old 97s was really good. I was like going, I don't know how much auto-tune possibly was involved, but I was like, going, he's got a good. I was like, he's got a good voice. Well done, Kevin.
Kevin Bacon's well known for singing as well.
Something about Kevin.
That's his voice. That's all real. It's real.
That's what they all say.
Well, it wasn't sure auto-tune at least.
Yes, exactly.
To that level,
exactly.
and of course, it was done to it was kind of the overarching loveliness with this song to all the Christmas gift giving
Absolutely.
that was going around.
One thing I will say, though, if you're watching this, if you didn't watch it with subtitles, turn the subtitles off before the song, because it absolutely ruins the song. The lyrics are not great. The lyrics are really distractingly bad about people needing hugs and snuggles for Christmas, and that's all people want is hugs and snuggles at Christmas. It's not a very good song.
But Derek, they do.
Everybody does want hugs and snuggles for Christmas.
Snuggles.
I just don't need a song about it.
Yes, no one needs a song about hugs or snuggles.
What we need is bar humbugs, Grinches, pieces of
not
coal.
say that.
And all that.
Exactly.
I did not say that. We need Christmas time with
Murderous
all
Santa
toys for all the
Claus,
boys and girls.
The Krampus coming down the chimney, definitely. But we get the gifts here.
Yes.
Coming back to loveliness. So we have the Game Boy for Groot. Again, one of my favourite ones was Bucky's arm for Rocket from Nebula, which was just superb. He's always wanted it. He's obsessed about it. Seen it all in the past. Really loved that Rocket got his arm.
But how did she get it? Did she take it from the Dora Milaje? Did they take his arm back in?
They did.
Falcon and Winter Soldier?
He got a new arm.
Yes.
Yes.
So she
This is the new arm though. This
No.
is the new one from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's the blue arm. It's the blue yellow arm.
No, it was just silver.
Are we sure?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, vibranium.
His silver arm.
It was just stainless steel. I mean vibranium.
That's it. It's not even the real arm. Actually, she photocopied it.
It was
like,
papier
3D
mâché with a silver spray finish.
I like the idea that she did take his old arm, and that would explain how she was able to get it, not that poor Bucky's walking around after being attacked by Nebula to rip off his arm.
See, I prefer that, which is the next time we see it, he's on another arm. He goes, "Yeah, this blue chick came up and like sucker punched me," and it'd be just like that's the fun part. It'd be like just a dropped line somewhere in one of the next ones.
I know I did slightly criticize the choice of CGI for Groot, but I have to say how they used it in the moment where he gets his Game Boy. I don't know. I've had that reaction when I got a console for a birthday or for Christmas in the past. I think they really did style that so well for Groot when he gets his hands on a Game Boy. We've always seen him doing handheld gaming in the past. We know this is something that he loves, and for Peter to remember it and give him a cool gift like a Game Boy, and just the reaction of the character, I thought worked really well. And that just that little moment, you can see real joy from Groot. It was cool.
Yeah. I love it, and the craziest thing is that Nintendo allowed that. I suppose when you're Disney, you get away with it. But like Nintendo are notorious for not allowing their properties, be it like, or even the consoles on TV and all those types of things. Right. Like notorious for it. So here they got it. I was like, ooh.
Nowadays it feels like you're suddenly hitting an audience of a couple of 100 million kids who are going to be going, ooh, what's that Groot has?
Exactly.
Maybe I'll see if I can root out my Game Boy or my dad's Game Boy or whatever it may be. And then we have the weird Inception moment where Groot has created gifts for all the rest of the Guardians, including sculptures of the original discussion at the beginning of the episode, the chase down of Kevin Bacon from Drax and Mantis, which you can't possibly have seen, of course, but may, of course, have had the story when he came back. And then the most amazing Inception moment where he gives a sculpture to Kraglin of Kraglin looking at the sculpture of Kraglin looking at a sculpture of Kraglin looking at the sculpture, which was fantastic, to be honest.
And the weird thing was, though, as these came out, I just thought of the Stations of the Cross or something. I was like, oh my god, this is like the new religion. Are they going to be it was just like, what is going on here?
How weird.
How has Groot done this? I was like, jeebus. Yeah, but anyway, look, the real end, ultimately, of this Christmas past was that when Mantis explains to Peter that she's his sister, it's all, lovey-dovey, because she's been kind of anxious and afraid about it because she felt that every time Peter looked at her, it would remind him of Ego and everything that happened around his mother and so on. So this was really nice, the idea that that's all he wanted for Christmas. He's got this companion. He's lost his father, not a great father in Ego, but lost his mother, lost Gamora, but has gained his sister. So that was the kind of, the Christmas end here, but also Peter just explaining that Yondu in the end did understand Christmas, that softy part of Yondu, where he gets his little toy. And I love the fact that it's his present to Peter are his two lasers, his guns, which was really good.
It does make sense for someone like Yondu to give someone in their teenage years a set of guns for Christmas as their gift. Yes,
definitely.
Mary Poppins, eat your heart out.
Merry Christmas to one and all. Yes. So yeah, nice little moment to close that out.
Yeah, I mean, Mary Poppins ultimately gave a lot of sugar to children as well to help the medicine, whatever that was, go down. So it's kind of the same spirit, really, just different.
And it should have left you in the Christmas spirit at that kind of closeout. But we have one more thing to talk about. I know this is a comedy movie. I know it's only 45 minutes. A little special, mostly about Mantis and Drax and the fish out of water idea of them on Earth, Kevin Bacon on the planet. But there are some little details in here that connect us into the next Guardians of the Galaxy. Some changes to the Guardians that I just want to talk about here. Some little things that you can pick up. Again, this is done by the same director and writer with all the same cast leading up to the movie. It's part of the MCU. So all of these things I think are just interesting to talk about. There was a little comment right at the opening that they've now bought Nowhere. Yeah. So the Guardians, being this group of people that travel around the galaxy fighting off bad guys to save the universe or just to make a lot of money, which is really their purpose, they now have a home base where they now own Nowhere. They've bought it from the collector. That's kind of an interesting starting to this.
Did they buy it though? I didn't catch that. Okay, because I was just thinking if they did, they certainly had the upper hand in the negotiations.
Probably.
Yeah.
Although the collector's a pretty well-versed person in negotiations as well. He's got his own way of dealing with them.
Yeah, no, and this is cool. This is like they have their local base now, and that's
a rebel base, in fact,
if you will. It's and again a giant celestial head.
Yeah.
And we have seen the Celestials again already. Last time was in the Eternals. So we know that one of their heads is just floating and being used as a base for the Guardians.
Yeah. That could be really interesting if we see one of the Celestials discovering one of their mates' heads being used as someone's home. Yeah, might not go down too well.
Could be good. The other one as well is that we've mentioned is that Mantis and Quill are brother and sister, which I guess it'll be interesting for that dynamic between them. For me, Mantis, the dynamic with Drax has always been the thing I've loved. Those two, but now there's this, in a sense, a bit more serious relationship, that serious side of Guardians movies, here in terms of them being brother and sister, potentially. I mean, we don't know, but certainly they are brother and sister.
It's certainly a big change, definitely. We also mentioned Cosmo now being part of the Guardians. Yeah. We saw Cosmo in the past, but this is the first time we've really seen her as a character on screen, really interacting with the rest of the team, and has a great back and forth with Rocket. I think they work quite well together.
Definitely. Yeah. And of course, Groot being Swole now.
Yes, exactly.
Swole Groot. I love Swole Groot.
One other one I wanted to mention. They call out the ship here is called the Bowie. They've had a number of ships over the years. The Milano was the first ship that we met Peter Quill on. Then they had the Benatar, which was in the Avengers movies, and now this new ship is the Bowie. So they've had a couple of ships over the year, but this is a new ship. I think this is the first time we've seen the Bowie. As far as I remember, it was still the Benatar when Thor was with them, back in Thor: Love and Thunder, and now they've got another new ship. Obviously named after David Bowie, of course. But,
exactly, but it's also a different design to the others. So didn't really feel I got one of those great wide shots of it, but I mean, because with the Benatar and the Milano, I just loved the design of those. That kind of idea of it looking like a bird. This didn't, at least from first glance, within the special, but be good to see it fully in Volume 3.
Absolutely. Only other note I had to talk about really quickly is just when they were going round the cosplayers in Hollywood, there was a gold-painted living statue that was standing in the street. I really hoped that was a reference to Crawley from Moon Knight, but no, different actor. Quite a well-known actor in the suit there. But it would have been great if they brought back Crowley from Moon Knight just for that moment, so we can have a little connection between the two. And it also answers the really stupid question that we asked when we were covering Moon Knight about whether Americans would know what a living statue was. But of course, there are living statues all across America in big cities. So they have shown it here in this special.
And especially on Hollywood Boulevard, especially on Sunset Strip, and especially beside the Chinese Theatre.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Anything else you guys want to call out from the special?
No, nothing for me.
The final one for me is we're probably going to get a second one.
Maybe.
Maybe, because we do get that very short post-credit where Groot is the Christmas tree, Rocket and Cosmo are putting Christmas tree lights all over him, and he kind of drops everything because he drops his arms. And the line is, now we need another special. So it is that going to be, we probably will next year, the year after, get a second one or a third one. Maybe next year we get another one, and that's the follow-up to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Maybe the farewell to the Guardians, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, not to sound grinchy here for me, and I don't want to be on a big downer right at the end of our holiday special, but I was like, oh no, okay. But I mean, and I did like this, but I was just wondering, like, is there a need for another one? At least put it closer to Christmas, I think.
Well, that pretty much leads us directly on to the last bit that we always have on all of our podcasts. John, let's start with you, since I think I can guess where we're going. Do you defend this Marvel Holiday Special?
I do defend the Marvel Holiday Special. I'd give it 3 crispy bacons out of 5. For me, I really enjoyed elements of this. I just possibly wasn't in the seasonal spirit, and so some of the stuff felt a little flat. I didn't really think it was as funny as the movies in terms of what they played around. I mean, when they got it right, like with Rocket getting the Winter Soldier arm, with the banter between Drax and Mantis and Kevin Bacon, I really enjoyed that element of it. But in a sense, I like the stuff that's hopefully going to be that setup with Volume 3 around Swole Groot and so on, and the brother and sister dynamic between Mantis and Peter Quill. So that's all really interesting. I guess it was November, lads. It was November. I
could see being in your turkey coma after Thanksgiving and enjoying this.
I
could see why it works very well for an American audience, but it is 100% not a holiday special. It's a Christmas special, which should be coming out the week of Christmas, right?
Yeah.
There is no allusion to any other holidays, even alien holidays. This is absolutely about Christmas trees and Santa. That needs to be the week before Christmas.
Yeah. So I do defend this. I guess it just took me at the wrong time, really. And I loved seeing Cosmo being in there as well. Yeah. So, both in terms of, again, looking forward to seeing the rapport of Rocket and Cosmo, because I enjoyed that as well. And Nebula's little, snidey off-camera remarks as well were just really nice. So a lot of this I did like, for sure. But yeah, I guess it wasn't necessary. Maybe I just wasn't in the mood for it, because I know just even talking about it now, I feel a lot better about it. But I think, 3 crispy bacons out of 5.
Excellent. I meant to come back to Karen Gillan as Nebula, but you've said it very well. I think every time she was on screen, she really is embodying that character so well. She now, I think the first movie, she was quite a background character in the movie the first time we met the character, but now, all these years on, Karen Gillan does such a good job in that role. Just takes a line and you're right back with her again. Really good. Chris, how about yourself? Do you defend this Marvel Holiday Special?
Absolutely. I loved it. It was fun. My only piece with it is the release time. If they had to release this in closer to Christmas, actual Christmas Day, or Christmas Eve, or the week of Christmas, or something like that, I think I would have been in a greater mood. I would have been ready for it. I would have been in the holiday spirit, all that. I think maybe some of those people in the US who are kind of Thanksgiving, it's beginning to feel a lot like Christmas. That type
to quote
of thing.
the song, yeah.
Then I think potentially then it would kind of hit a lot more. for me, like, I just got over Halloween. Like, I'm still in the, it's November. In about 2-3 weeks, it's going to be week before Christmas, and I'll be in the mood. So it's that type of thing, I think. Yeah. But overall, it's a fun 40-minute kind of in and out storyline with, like we said, drops a few fun things about the actual Guardians, about where we're going, and sets up potential for more. And it's the Guardians Galaxy. I like some of their humor. Like, that's the thing. But I think perhaps the biggest plus to this whole thing is Drax and Mantis, and the chemistry that we get to see, extra chemistry we get between them, and a focus there on them. I think that's obviously the key aspect.
Yeah, absolutely agree, Chris. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I can see why having Drax and Mantis here, I think they work really, really well.
Definitely. Yeah.
But Derek, what do you think? Do you defend this episode, or this special, I should say?
Yes, I do. I think it was quite enjoyable, actually. Didn't really have to say it's welcome. It's a little lighter than I thought it was going to be. You know, it occasionally feels like they're filming on the sets for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and the lighting's not exactly right, so it doesn't feel like that kind of heavy production of the movies. Have to say, sorry to call him out, but I do think Chris Pratt looks like he's very tired from the filming of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, rather than he's acting like he's lost Gamora. I feel like he's really phoning it in throughout this movie, which is fine. He's only on screen for a couple of times. I just don't think he is acting as well as he has in other projects in the past. This is all about Dave Bautista, Pom Klementieff. The two of them are so great on screen together. I would their makeup jobs per day is like 3 or 4 hours, isn't it, to get themselves prepared for this. There's lots of CGI in Mantis's antennae as well, so there's a lot of work to put these characters on screen, and I think they worked very well together and really brought us to life. Really made this something different and something fun. And Kevin Bacon was great fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Having him on screen. We see Kevin Bacon quite a lot over here because he does the adverts for a popular mobile company in the UK. So we see him on screen quite a lot, so it was nice to see him back in a big budget movie in this way, and he's just got a lot of personality and a lot of charisma about him. So kind of see why someone wants him to be transported across the galaxy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it does make me really want to rewatch Hollow Man though, because I just forgot how much I loved him in that.
Yeah,
and he was just such a psycho crazy man.
Great in that. Yeah,
interesting choice.
And speaking of Hollow Man, I guess I'm the Grinch for Christmas from the three of us for this, but I still did enjoy it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be unhappy if I had to watch it in another year's time. I wouldn't be unhappy having to watch it another time. I did watch it twice for this chat. I think that's enough for this Christmas. I'll hold off for another year.
Exactly.
Good stuff. Let's get on to some feedback from our fellow defenders. We have heard a little bit of feedback since the episode released yesterday on Disney Plus. First up, we got an email in from Coffee and Vodka, who says, "Greetings, fellow Candy Cane defenders. To be honest, this had a couple of personal strikes against it before it started, those being the slow trickle of items which have caused Chris Pratt to be my least favourite Chris, and my views on holidays. Too much information aside, this special presentation played like an old-fashioned 80s sitcom, very special episode with some nice sardonic and occasionally twisted notes. Sweet Mantis has been given layers, including a complete set of emotional expressions and tones, as well as creepiness. The way she bounced through Kevin Bacon's home was wonderfully horrific. Drax's continued disregard for life and finding joy in the oddest of things and places was as welcome as ever, and Nebula's gift to Rocket put the special into special presentation. Groot looked like a man in a rubber suit with a CGI face though, while Peter felt very phoned in. As for Kevin Bacon, he was fine. Flat, crisp, and a good part of this healthy holiday special, so yeah, this happened. 2.5 Merry Christmases out of 5. Peace and take care. Coffee and Vodka.
Excellent. Coffee and Vodka. I feel we are Sort of on the same wavelength.
Kindred Christmas spirits, I guess.
And thank you, Coffee and Vodka. Good to know that I am above Chris Pratt in your listing of Chris's. I'm not sure where I am in that under Chris Evans and all of the other Chris's.
Oh, don't put yourself on their level, Chris.
No, okay. So I'm at least above
Yes.
Chris Pratt.
Exactly.
Just look at the positive, Chris. Look at the positives.
Exactly.
I will be sending out my piece of coal to Coffee and Vodka.
A really good call out there from Coffee Vodka on that moment where Mantis is jumping around Kevin Bacon's house.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastically done. And it does look really scary. You can imagine it without the Christmas music underneath, and with it might feel more akin to Friday the 13th, which Jason Voorhees.
100%.
There you go. Some more thoughts in from our fellow defenders over on Facebook. First up, Donald Dennis says, "I really love the Kevin Bacon song."
Yeah, me too. I thought it sounded pretty good.
And Cale Hensley said, "It was delightful."
There you go.
Indeed.
Finally, we also got some feedback from Dr. Bob Phillips, who said, "Completely ridiculous, frenetic, and irreverent, making light of abductions, actors, tequila, and siblinghood. I loved it. It delivered all of the goof of the films with a splash of quite perfect original music and oodles of Xmas film schmaltz."
Exactly.
Thank you, Dr. Bob. Yeah, no, the making light of abductions is always fun.
It is. And, closer to Halloween than Christmas, I guess. So which holiday is it?
Well, yes, I suppose it's because we don't have that Thanksgiving holiday in between the two.
Definitely.
That's probably what makes us feel like we're still around Halloween. And also, we like Halloween quite a lot more. So that is a good place to end our coverage of the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special with one final question. This is the second of our Marvel special presentations this year. We never had one before this year. So which do you prefer, the Halloween special presentation or the holidays special
Werewolf by
presentation?
Night.
Yeah,
I'm
Werewolf
not even
by
finished.
Night.
I'm pretty sure all of us are
Yeah.
like Werewolf by Night.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just more in the acting, in the CGI, in the everything.
Yeah.
Even had what I would take as one or two better jokes, and Man Thing just being Man Thing in that, like in comparison to say Rocket or Swall Groot, like they're just slightly better, totally CGI to actors.
Yeah. Look, and I mean, I get it. It makes sense for Guardians of the Galaxy to be in this based on their movies, because I love the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I really have done. I'm just like, with their kind of cameo in Love and Thunder, and now with this, I just hope they don't just chuck them in for these kind of things, because I guess in Love and Thunder, I think we mentioned it, it didn't feel like them. Again, even like with Chris Pratt, I mean, I know he's suffering for the loss of Gamora and so on, but, I would kind of take on board, like, some of the comments and the discussion points about him just looking flat in this, whether he's just not the same Chris Pratt as we remember him from Parks and Rec and the first few movies, given, I guess, a lot of baggage that's happening. But I hope, I don't know whether cheapening the Guardians of the Galaxy is the right word, but, I really like these characters, and sometimes when they're just thrown into various different things, the thing with Werewolf by Night is that it was that new thing. Here, I know they're playing it for laughs, I know there's that comedic element anyway in the movies, but I just didn't almost feel as though it was funny as the movies,
Yeah.
So look, I just hope they don't overuse them in things like this.
Yeah.
No.
And I'll have to say, I'll be the first to admit, Werewolf by Night, we are the target audience for that. 100% people like us who like those types of movies. This is the Marvel version of that. Have you guys ever, by choice, watched a Christmas movie? Except when you're really getting ready for Christmas and someone makes you watch one, you'll sit down and watch one. How often have you sat down and watched a traditional Christmas movie with a hearty, happy center to it? It's usually something like Gremlins, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what I was about to say.
So we're not the target audience for this. I'm sure that families are going to gather around this at Christmas and enjoy it in the future. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Good stuff. Thanks so much for joining us, fellow Defenders. We hope you enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy, the holiday special, and hope you enjoyed our chat all about it as well. Great to have you back with us, Chris, for this episode. Willow is coming out with its first 3 episodes next week on Disney Plus. We've talked about this and we're recommending it to all of our fellow Defenders to go and check it out. We've watched the first few episodes, quite a few actually. Most of the first season. It is well worth watching. Go check it out. Next up, though, we will definitely be doing our end of year wrap up as we always do, covering all the shows that we've talked about this year. Looking forward to 2023, all the stuff that's going to be coming up. We know for sure Star Wars: The Bad Batch is returning in January. I think January 15th. The final season of Picard is going to be coming back in February. And in the Marvel world, Nick Fury and Maria Hill will be coming back in Secret Invasion to Disney Plus. So looking forward to that. We don't really know the release dates for any of the Marvel Disney shows, only the movies. We know Guardians of the Galaxy is coming out in May 5th next year, but we don't know any of the release dates of the Disney Plus shows, but you can be assured we will definitely be talking about them here.
Yes, so you have Ant-Man and Quantumania in February, and the current rumor is that Secret Invasion goes live in March.
Okay.
That is from the leaks that happened in the last 2 days. That apparently this well-known leaker within the entertainment industry who has a good track record, leaked a number of release dates for all the Marvel activities, and they change. He was like, but as of right now, February we've got Ant-Man and Quantumania, and then you've got Secret Invasion that kicks off in March that runs for 6 weeks.
He should really get that looked at, shouldn't he?
Secret leaker.
Yeah.
Being a well-known leaker is not a good thing. And that's obviously the reason why I missed it. I usually only look at the official release dates for this stuff. So but that would work out great, wouldn't it? Then we'd have the Bad Batch in January, Picard in February, and Secret Invasion in March. That would work out really well for us.
It would.
But catch up with us when we're talking about our wrap-up.
Yeah, definitely.
Good stuff. Thanks so much for joining us. Talk to you again next time.
Thank you so much, and we'll speak soon. Bye.
Yeah, thanks, fellow Defenders, for joining us for the holiday special. We'll be back with you again soon, of course. But in the meantime, keep watching, keep listening, and keep defending. Happy holidays.
Bye.
Bah humbug.
Bye.
Come on, Groot!
Groot ruined Christmas again.
Now we gotta have another special.